Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the eSports Report presented by the Xbox One, the official console of Major League Gaming. Benson joined by Jack lookalike.
No, Maven lookalike with hair.
Yeah. You have a tough spot because me and Jack actually had a really good show.
It was going really good. I was watching it. I was really enjoying it.
Back and forth. He didn't say anything dumb.
He didn't?
Nope.
Wow. So I have to step it up.
You have to
I have to say a lot.
Reach the bar.
Okay.
Anyway, we're looking at all the teams, of course,
Yeah.
the placements and going over everything. Time to talk about eLevate.
Bronze medalists.
Bronze. Spoiler alert, man. God damn. They placed third. Who would have guessed it was bronze?
Who would have?
Bronze medalists, eLevate. I had them in bronze.
I think
you didn't.
No, I believe
you
everyone.
Had denial?
No, Maven had denial.
No, you had denial as well. Anyway, let's sit. Let's take a look at our bronze medalists overall. Stats: they go 3-2 in series count. They go 12-9 in map count. Hardpoint 3-3. I mean, a score difference of minus 25 points. Team KD is 0.99. S&D was 3-2. CTF was 3-2, and Uplink was 3-2. So there was nothing really which stands out to you to the point of like, oh my god, you know, this is amazing. This is, oh wow, incredible. But it was kind of 50-50 on everything.
Yeah, there really was not one game mode that they stood out in and really carried them through series. And really, when you look at eLevate and you look at a player like TJ Halley, who won the Uplink Player of the Season in the regular season for Season 2, you would have expected him to, really step it up. And Uplink, they went 3-2. They're tied for their best record overall.
Right.
And, in the best 7 having that extra Uplink, you would have expected them to really kind of take over series, I guess, in Uplink. Maybe go 4-1, even potentially 5-0, depending on the teams they would have faced. But, for me, when you look at Hardpoint, 3-3, that's probably the most surprising, I think, because like when you have players like Slacked and Classic who are always in the hill and vying for kills, they're like the team KD seems accurate, like a 0.99, but I really would have expected them to go at least maybe 4-2 in Hardpoint.
Right, you'd expect something to be a little bit more positive.
Exactly.
At least. Talking about TJ, had a little bit of a poor event, to be honest with you. 0.87 overall KD, and the struggles are actually really strange. It's a 0.88 Hardpoint. Then it goes to 0.79 CTF. Uplink was his best at a 0.99.
Right.
But in S&D, which was kind of his roots, is a 0.69.
Wow.
Which is very, very low. Now, don't get me wrong, he still plays bronze. Had a great event as a team, as you can see, kind of going even across the board. They didn't have any bad game modes where we've seen teams go like 0-4 in CTF.
Right.
But it was weird. The only series he actually went positive in was versus Rise in the losers bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, if you play a team like Rise, like that's not really the series you really only want to go positive in.
Right. You want to have some big performances.
Exactly. And then, obviously, losing the phase in the loser bracket finals.
Right. Was tough.
Very tough. But then you look at their standout player. There's really no surprise being Temp. A 1.16 overall KD. Yeah, exactly. A 1.07 hardpoint KD. A 1.02 CTF KD, and then a 1.40 uplink KD as well as a 1.40 S&D KD.
I mean,
that's nuts.
His uplink and S&D was just the shooting numbers. 1.4 and uplink, like come on, who does that?
Exactly.
I mean, I remember that kind of game we saw earlier on at TCM versus eLevate. It was kind of Madcat versus TCM kind of battle.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Madcat versus Temp battle. And it was very, very prominent throughout that whole series that when a player like Temp just gets going, he just obliterates people.
Exactly.
He really does. He's just so good. And again, everyone's always like, yo, the guy's a warrior. Guess what? He still puts up numbers at land. 1.16 overall KD. Very impressive.
Yeah, we were talking about on the ESR going into X Games and how, he proved it at UMG Cali that he could, perform on land. But then really, performing at X Games would really be like the nail in the coffin for the haters, really silencing all the doubters. And, like a 1.40 uplink KD and a 1.40 S&D KD. It's nuts.
It's very good. Very good. I mean, Temp, just massively big performances from him in uplink and S&D. They go 3-2 in both of them. So, no surprise there. But eLevate as a whole, very, very impressed. Very impressed with them. Bronze medal, as I said, expected to see them medal. Could they have done a little bit better? I mean, TJ plays plays a little bit better in some game modes. Maybe they could
Yeah.
stretch Silva.
I mean, they handled TCM, which we were expecting them to do. Come out and just, roll over them. And then they had to go up against OG, which is extremely tough. And, a lot of people didn't have them beating them there. But
and to be honest, that's a big. You kind of look at these map stats. They played OG. They lost every respawn to OG. So
Exactly.
That has an effect on that.
Right. So, I mean, really they were vying with FaZe for that silver medal. And it came down just like, I don't know if, eLevate was tired because they, loser bracket run, even though it wasn't that long of a loser bracket run, but it was best of sevens. So,
I mean, you see, the difference with that argument is losers round final was on Sunday.
right.
So they had that whole night to rest. They wake up, get to the venue on Sunday, and get 4-0. So they're the two factors.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. So you look at that map count, the only games they were really losing were to OG and FaZe. Who plays first and second?
Right. But I mean, like, then does that really solidify eLevate as like the third best team in the game right now?
Yes.
Easily, without a doubt.
They can beat anyone except for OG and FaZe right now.
Yeah.
From OG, I think they're quite far away. From FaZe, I feel like the series wasn't a full kind of preview as to how good this team really is.
Right.
But going into the event, there was no doubt in my mind that they were walking away with the medal.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. Temp is such an integral part of this team that it's scary what he can do. I mean, right now the guy's, what, 2 KD, 10 and 5?
Right.
Slack 10 and 5 as well. And that's another thing we haven't even talked about, the hunger behind this team as well. Slack's last event was in January before this. January.
Yeah, we had him on the ESR for an interview, and that was really surprising because I think it all took us back a little bit. We were like, oh, really? Like, when you think about it, like, it wasn't at Season 1 championships, wasn't at any regionals, COD champs, obviously, and then Gfinity, UMG. So, he had a lot to prove. That this was this is his big event this year.
Right.
And, he came out, he performed, walking away with a bronze medal. You can't be upset with it, but still, like, what do they need to really get over that hump of, starting with FaZe, and then they really have to look at OG?
I hate to say it, but you just need more. It's been the story all show, to be honest with you, Max. You look at the kind of objective-based players who've been putting up low numbers, and I feel like you can't do that anymore.
Right.
That objective role is no longer really a role. The way that people are playing all these game modes now is just so kill-heavy, as it kind of should be. Like, that's what you expect. And to beat a team, like, let's say OG, for example, right?
Right.
4 Slayers. You look at FaZe. Do they really have an objective player?
Not really.
Slashy went from that main battle to now someone who just needs to pick up kills.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, they're another team just surrounded by Slayers.
And
that's the difference.
Yeah, it really is.
That really is the difference, just being able to get kills. Like, you see eLevate go up against FaZe and they get 4-0'd. Because they just couldn't keep up and slaying. It's that easy.
So then I guess the next question is, do they make a roster change? Which is, that's strange to say.
No, it's a really good point. At that point, it comes down to, well, do you want to win?
Right.
Or are you happy being a good team who can maybe 1 in 10 series steal something?
Right.
And that comes down to that. Like, could they continue to practice and play well? Yeah. Could they get better? Definitely.
What's interesting though is that, I mean, let's think back to like COD champs, right? And how we thought like the meta was like teams were building rosters to beat OG. That's what the main goal was, right? FaZe Red did it at COD champs. That was the roster that was put together. It was the whole story behind FaZe Red at the time. But now, FaZe Red, FaZe and now OG are both teams that, you really have to compete with. It's not just competing for OG. You have to actually build a team with Slayers on it. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't have that dedicated OBJ player.
Well, the 2 best teams in the game right now that we just said don't really have that dedicated objective. They just run around and kill things. Same as Ghost did at the very end of the game. People, when they were scrambling to make teams in Ghost, the objective plays become nullified. Give me one objective player right now who you can say is really been a difference maker the last couple of events. Shane got nullified.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah.
Merc didn't make it to finals. TP had one of the worst events he's had in a very long time.
That S&D game was tough to watch.
It was brutal. It was really bad. Who else? I mean, Parasite's been kind of playing that objective-based role for TK. Box.
Like the one, like I guess, like example is Replays of Champs because he played out of his mind. He was killing people.
Right, since champs.
Right, since then, yeah.
Every objective-based player just hasn't been able to keep up and kill.
Exactly, yeah.
They're just getting completely obliterated by teams of Slayers. And I think when this roster mania comes around, there's going to be a lot of players who are left kind of in a very, very strange situation. Temp right now, 21-11, by the way.
Right. Absolutely destroying people.
Walks away from the event, as we mentioned before, with a 1.4 uplink KD.
It's nuts.
1.4.
Over 5 games.
Honestly, his
that's
hard
insane.
point was actually disappointing. As weird as that is to say. Only a 1.07?
Yeah.
I expected a little bit more from him in hard point. And CTF.
Right.
But still. Yeah, that's beside the point.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like potential players that would even fit on this team after like they would make a roster move.
What's crazy is you take away all those series, like against OG and FaZe, and they don't lose a respawn either. Like they just need to just get better against those two teams, and this could be a top team, like a championship contending team.
See, now I'm probably thinking too far into the future and Black Ops 3, but because we don't know how it's going to be, whether you need an objective player on your team or not. But like, would you build a roster just for now? Just thinking.
I think honestly, my opinion on objective players and teams is you can have a team of 4 Raw Slayers on any Call of Duty game that's ever been out. You will win. It is as simple as that.
I'm trying to think of any teams that haven't.
The way
like
TP himself explained the game to me, and this was COD, is if you're out slaying and losing, that's okay.
Right.
You can fix that. But if you're getting outslayed and still losing, that's the tough spot to be in.
Yeah, first-person shooter. Got to be able to kill people, right?
You cannot kill things in a first-person shooter. Surprise, surprise, you're going to struggle. So,
Right.
with all these team changes coming in, I think you're going to look at powerhouse slaying teams. Maybe even teams with like two ARs, like solid ass ARs.
Right.
Like, for example, just by looking at the numbers, right, from earlier on, if you had a Mad Cat and a Saints on the same team,
Forget about it.
like,
With Temp and TJ, or Temp and Slacked, or whatever.
I'm just saying, if you can pick any other 2 players, like, if you just had people who were just going to consistently kill things, who may traditionally, maybe you had 2 people who are traditionally going to play the same role,
Right.
It doesn't matter, just let them kill things. Like, that's what you really need. Like, for example, Karma in Black Ops 2. Well renowned as being the best Black Ops 2 player in the game.
Right.
The reason behind that was because he would rotate around the map and kill everything. He just did that. He kind of created that roaming role, and he understood hardpoint to the point where it was just crazy.
Yeah.
He was just so good at just killing everything. And like on this game, you don't really see that same Karma come out.
Right.
You don't see him because, guy for Christ's sake, his team with Trim and Scum, Informal, who was just going to kill everything. Anyway, but again, that's 4 plays, so at any time, one of those plays could have a bad game and someone else will pick it up.
Right. I mean, if these like powerhouse slaying teams come together, what really happens to all these objective players, all these support players? Like you said, it's clearly easier to turn a Slayer into someone who can do a flex role like Karma's doing now, doing the dirty work, than someone who has traditionally done the dirty work to now kill people.
We've seen replays
Right.
kill things. We've seen Shane kill things. We've seen TP kill things.
Yeah.
We've seen Merc kill things. They can all do it. It's not a matter that they don't have the skill. It's just they just need to be kind of put into that role, I think is the biggest difference. Because every one of these kind of hardcore objective players, we've seen just kill things when they needed to.
Yeah.
And like have big events where they go ham. Like I think Shane had what, the highest KD from TCM at the last event, besides X Games.
Right.
Very bizarre.
Yeah, I mean,
In SD, I think that was.
yeah.
Which is very, very bizarre.
I mean, TCM as a whole is strange because, like, because Mad Cat, like you said, like Mad Cat as an AR is up there in top ARs in the entire like, competitive Call of Duty scene right now. But I feel like they're stuck together just because they're an EU team.
Right.
Like, I didn't agree with Jack when he said that they'd make a roster move, just because unless you pick up an EU player.
Why? They have a team house. What difference does it make? You're playing in the North American League. Just because you're a European organization doesn't mean you have to have four European
so
players.
like hypothetically they drop Moose, right? What happens to him? He goes back to Europe.
Yeah.
That's just a.
No,
I think
no,
that's-
Max. He stays
No,
a poor
no,
homeless
I'm
man in the
saying
streets of
that-
New York City,
I'm saying that's-
where he
no,
begs
no,
in
that's not what
Central
I'm saying.
Park and feeds pigeons. Of course, he goes back to Europe.
I'm saying that's just a crappy situation. Like, he qualified with a team, like, it'd be tough. I don't know. I just don't see that team making a roster move. You do?
Yes, definitely. I think they would be silly not to.
Well, anyway, eLevate.
Do they comfortably qualify? Can you tell me they
TCM?
comfortably qualified to X Games?
No.
You want to be in that spot where it's comfortable.
Right.
Like that's my point. Anyway, that was like eLevate. Congratulations on a bronze medal. You guys did very, very well. Exceeded a lot of people's expectations, which means there's just 2 teams left. We got FaZe, we got Optic Gaming to take a look at. It's going to be a good time. And of course, we have an Xbox One to give away later on in the show as well. For now, commercial break. Grab back.